I'm on a really difficult project at work right now, and recently one of my teammates and I were commiserating over how hard it's been and how we've been the first ones in the office and the last ones to leave.
And they said to me, you know what, Matt? Life is just suffering. And I thought about it afterwards and I realized that it's kind of true. No matter how hard we try to run away or escape suffering and the pain and discomfort of life, it always somehow finds a way to come back to us. It's almost like it's futile to try and escape pain, because trying to escape pain is like trying to escape reality. You know, lately I've been feeling just a little bit disillusioned with life and with my career. And it's ironic because on paper, you know, I have a really great life, and I know I should be really grateful for all the good fortune that I've had so far. You know, I went to a really great school. I am working a job that many people would consider a dream job, and I have good relationships with my friends and my family. But despite all that, I lately have just been feeling a little bit disappointed, is maybe the word, that life is really just waking up, going to work every day, going home, eating food, going to sleep, and then repeating that cycle until the weekend. And then I have 2 days of doing things that I like, but then the whole cycle just starts all over again. Like, is that really it? Like, I work for somebody else's benefit, and for the next 50 to 60 years of my life, I grind away in the hopes that one day when I turn 65, I can retire. You know, I think when we're young, we're given these milestones, very clearly defined milestones to follow. Like when you're in school, when you're in elementary school, you're trying to get to middle school. When you're getting to middle school, you want to get to high school, and then you want to apply to college. And once you're in college, you want to land internships in hopes of eventually landing a full-time job. And of course, graduating with a good degree. And because the structure is so clear and everybody's following it, you hardly have time to stop and really think about what you want. And so I think a hard realization that a lot of people my age have when they graduate and after they start working full-time is you have this moment when the glamour and the excitement of starting your new job ends and you realize, okay, this is my life now. Like, sure, there's other societal goals to strive for, like getting married or having a kid or buying a house, but largely you're left to figure out for yourself what you really want out of your life. And nobody is in more control of your life than you at that point, which is both simultaneously amazing but also terrifying. And I certainly wasn't prepared for this harsh realization when I graduated, because when I was in college, I thought that landing a job in investment banking would solve all of my problems. I thought my life would be set. I thought I'd be happy. And in retrospect, I was totally wrong. And I had a huge ego issue, actually, because when I landed my offer, I thought that I was better than everybody else. I thought that just because now I was working this job in high finance in New York on Wall Street, you know, I thought that I had made it, and I thought that I would be happy because of that job. But I wasn't, and I got humbled really quickly. And I learned pretty fast that, one, I was an idiot for thinking that I was better than other people because of my job. Two, that real wealth, real generational wealth, is incredibly difficult to build and requires you to sacrifice everything in pursuit of that goal. And three, a fancy, prestigious job is not gonna make you happy. 99% of the time, it's what you do outside of work that brings you the most joy, not working for somebody else on somebody else's goals. You know, now that I'm almost 3 years out of college, I've been working for 2.5 years at this point in both investment banking and now in consulting. And I make a lot of content, often sharing my experiences about finance and consulting and also giving out a lot of information and advice. But sometimes I just can't help but wonder if I am really the person that should be giving the advice in the first place. And as I get older and I get more experience, the more I realize how much I don't know and how little I actually have figured out. And the more I observe people around me, the less it seems like anybody has it figured out. And sometimes I just can't help but wonder what my bosses at work think to themselves after a long day of work. You know, when they log off at like midnight and they get into bed, what are they thinking about? Are they thinking, great work, man, you're one day closer to retirement at 65, or I just can't wait to go to work tomorrow and produce some real value for my employer? Or are they thinking the same thing as me, which is, let's just get through today one step at a time, because if we try to think about the remaining 40 years of our career, then we might go crazy. And so right now, I'm just like feeling a lot of anxiety around how to think about my career and what direction I should even be taking. You know, I've always been somebody with a bias for action. The difficult part for me was never executing the goal or the idea, but it was really figuring out which goal was worth pursuing. And everybody that I talk to tells me that I'm so lucky and I'm so fortunate to have all these opportunities available to me, all these exit options, whether it's moving to a tech company or into finance or to a startup. But quite frankly, sometimes I feel like there's so many voices telling me what to do, and they're all telling me different things, and so it's really hard for me to actually figure out what's right for me. Quite frankly, a lot of those opportunities that other people might consider really prestigious or really incredible don't really get me as excited as I feel like I should be. And I think part of the reason is that I've kind of soured a little bit on the idea of hard work for the sake of working. What I mean is, I don't mind working really hard, but it has to be for a worthwhile reason. And going back to the analogy of suffering, if life is all suffering, then shouldn't we at least pick something to pursue that is worth suffering for, as opposed to suffering over things that we don't care about or that don't bring us any kind of fulfillment? I know this is starting to get super deep, and I'm not saying that I necessarily want to quit the rat race or anything like that. I still think there's a lot of value in working a full-time job. But I just felt like making this video because lately I've been feeling a lot of uncertainty and anxiety about work and about life. And if any of you watching this are feeling that way, hopefully this makes you realize that you're not alone. You know, maybe I'm just like super jaded and burnt out, and maybe I just need a break. Maybe I'll wake up tomorrow after filming this and realize that I no longer feel this way. But as I really think hard about what I enjoyed and what has brought me fulfillment before, making these videos is something that I really genuinely enjoy. Because not only is it a creative outlet for me to express my thoughts and my feelings, but it's also a way for me to help those of you who are in a similar situation as I was just a few years ago. If you're sitting at home right now or in your dorm watching this video and you've been feeling really just beat down by life lately, things aren't going your way, or maybe things are going really, really well and you're worried that something bad is going to happen, then I hope that this video brought you some level of comfort in knowing that nobody really has it figured out. Everyone's just trying to get by day, even people who may look like they have the perfect life on paper. Life is full of so much suffering, but fortunately in some aspects, we do get to choose what we are suffering for. Is it something that's worthwhile? Does it bring us fulfillment? You tell me.